a dark lord of the Sith who uses his anger as a weapon, choking, slicing, and crushing his enemies. It makes you wonder how he treats his allies. An alien in every sense of the word, that is also a brilliant tactician and leader. Thrawn, the Grand Admiral, servant to the Chiss and the Empire. If this sounds interesting, then Thrawn Alliances may be the book for you. Thrawn Alliances is a sequel book to, you guessed it, Thrawn. If you want a review to that book, I'll leave a link in the description below. Thrawn was a New York Times bestseller, giving a blend of sci-fi and mystery. Well, about this one though, how will Vader mix with the narrative, characters, and story? Will it be good, bad, or meh? Well, let's just find out. Let's start this with Thrawn. I honestly don't know what to say about Thrawn in this book. In the first one, he was intelligent, calculating, yet unrefined. In this one, it feels much less so. It's like he was dumbed down to drag on the plot. Mind you, he's not terrible. It's just he's not good. What about the Dark Lord of the Sith, you may be asking? What about Vader? Vader was even worse. Let me explain. He is a Lord of the Sith, someone who uses his anger and fear through the Force as a weapon. Yet, in this book, he refers to himself in his head as a Jedi, the enemy of the Sith. In other canon material, he denies the idea of even being a Jedi, thoughts and otherwise. If you ignore his other related work, then you lessen the history that makes this character who he is. Now, let's examine a bit of the past the author actually acknowledged. Anakin. Anakin Skywalker has a couple things going for him. 1. His romance with Padme, where the writing is not as cringy as the movies. 2. His commentary with Thrawn and their differences in tactics and style are quite enjoyable to read. Now, with that being said, he is an idiot. He just rushes in without thinking or anything. I wouldn't mind this too much were it not for the fact that it ignores other material where Anakin usually ran, but with a plan after having years of experience thanks to the Clone Wars. Now, for the best character in the book, Padme. She was given the role that I wish Thrawn had. She is in essence a spy detective, trying to figure out what happened to a close friend, and if there's a bigger plot connected to it. Her character was written surprisingly in line compared to the other characters in this book, with other canon material, like the TV show and the movies. She is intelligent, adaptable, and is written in such a way that she doesn't instantly solve any problem that she encounters. Instead, she has to create and rearrange plans to solve them and adapt to unforeseen occurrences. Time to talk about Thrawn's underling, Commander Pharaoh. She was shown in the prior book and has been promoted to the place that Eli Vanto used to have. She also takes on the role of student under Thrawn. Thrawn solves the problem, then has Pharaoh try to do it herself, guiding her as she goes. On another note, her reactions and the way she carries herself around Vader are also interesting, without giving too much away. Enough about her though, let's talk about Kimmend. Kimmend is Vader's underling, one in a long line of replacements. Given this, he is tenacious and determined. He cares for results as not to lose his head, but he also cares about his men, hoping to keep them alive as well. Something that both Kimmend and Pharaoh have in common is embracing the unorthodox tactics of their leaders, which makes them, all in all, somewhat decent characters. Let me just say that if you read the previous book, you will be disappointed. It starts slow like the last one, but does not pay off at all like last time. Honestly, I think the author sucks at intros. There are a ton of grammatical errors, such as starting quotation marks that don't have ending ones. But I think the biggest problem is that it feels rushed and is somehow shorter than the last one, with 600 pages, whereas the last one had 800. I have a theory. I think that after the success of the first one, Disney pushed for another one quicker, especially after lacking purchases of merchandise and a torn fan base thanks to The Last Jedi, giving us a marred version of what could have been a truly great book. So yeah, the characters are, for the most part, somewhat lacking. The book does a random flashback format for what should have really been a prequel book for this series, but instead, it is this mishmashed together, almost annoying amalgam of a book. The story, while a promising idea, does not pay off. The book is speckled with grammatical errors, but does not entirely ruin the book, I have to admit. Despite all this, it isn't terrible when it gets to the end, but I was still unsatisfied. Because of these mistakes, I have to rate this book a 5 out of 10, making this one unfortunately meh. If you want this book, you can get it on iTunes for around $9. But I warn you, you could also get a burrito at Chipotle for less. Just saying. If you liked the video, please press the like or subscribe button for more content like this. Also, share the video with a friend. This is Bearded Marksman, signing off.